In the last section, we created this book list component here, and we started to discuss the topic of containers. Remember, a container is just a component that has direct access to the state that's produced by Redux. React and Redux are two separate libraries, and it's only through this third library called React Redux that we can meld the two together and get a component that's actually aware of the state that is contained within Redux. We kind of made the decision right off the bat that book list would end up being a container, but let's talk a little bit about how that decision was made. I'm going to pull a diagram up here on the screen that kind of models our application a little bit. So the question is, which component do we want to return into a container? And the answer is, it varies. In general, we want the most parent component that cares about a particular piece of state to be a container. So your first answer might be, well, the whole app cares about all the state, right? The whole app needs to care about the list of books, and the app needs to know about the current active book. And when I say app, I'm talking specifically about our component called app.js. And the question, my answer there would be, well, I'm not so sure about that. App doesn't really care about the list of books. Only book list does. And as far as the book detail, well, only book detail really cares about the active book. The app, on the other hand, doesn't really care about the list of books, and it doesn't care about the currently selected book. The only thing that app is here for is to say, like, hey, please render book list to the page and please render book detail to the page. So I'm going to go ahead and say that our book list and a component that we'll make in a little bit here, the book detail, should both be containers or smart components or components that have a direct connection to Redux, whereas app should be a dumb component or just a component, what we would call just normally a component that doesn't have any touch or any handle on the data that's contained inside of Redux. If this were a real app, we might just take the easy way out and say, like, okay, well, we're just going to make app a container and everything else will just get all the props in here. And we can just re-render the component all day with all of our state and not think twice about it. In this example, though, I really want to hammer home the fact that we only create containers out of components that care about a particular piece of state. So we're going to do things, divide up a little bit of state here where the book list is going to get the list of books, and the book detail will get the active book. One more quick note, only the most parent component that uses a particular piece of state needs to be connected to Redux. So again, the app doesn't really care about the active book, only the book detail does. If the book list, however, had some other child component that cared about the book list, we wouldn't really want to connect that child component to the state as well, only the parent, which in this case would be the book list. Okay, so we've determined that book list needs to be connected to the books piece of state, so let's move or just verify that we do have the book list inside of the containers folder. So we're going to promote book list to being a container. So we need to now actually make use of the React Redux library and hook it up to Redux. I don't want to turn this lecture into a 20-minute section because it might take that long, so let's go ahead and take care of that in the next section.